Okay. Hello and welcome to
this horrendous shit show of a podcast.
yeah, the haram shit show.
Shit show. Okay, we start well. We're making our Muslim friends very proud already.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Okay, so how were the holidays?
They were good.
Yeah, very chill. Cold and chill. So just like sleeping and stuff.
Yeah, I think from your Instagram stories, this sounded like very artsy.
Oh yeah, it's just like one Instagram story per weekend or per week. So just to
Okay.
let people know that I do some shit and not
No, the way I did it is that I took a bunch of photos in that awesome photogenic museum, and then I'm posting one photo every day.
That's strategy. Or maybe you're in that museum every day. Who knows?
And yeah, but you're not right. But like, you cannot get this like thing of going like with the right person to take pictures and the right museum.
Yeah.
So you really need to kind of, I don't know, schedule the pictures very well.
Exactly. And I thought she was with the date. And
Oh,
she
no.
was like performing on those pictures, but unfortunately not.
Yeah, I was planting some doubt in your heads, guys.
Like, let other men know you might be taken already.
Oh, that's not something I want to do.
You don't know, it is part of the game. I mean, like, the Shanghai dating scene is so fucked up. I mean,
Yeah.
you have to play the game. Did you girls know about like this recent event in a party organizer group, which name I'm not gonna say, where the founder was married to this Taiwanese girl, and basically he cheated on his wife, and she just aired her dirty laundry in this like group chat with 500 people.
Classic. Tell us more.
Yeah, well, basically she just said this other Chinese girl in the group, basically for the 15 minutes she was left alone with her husband, wanted to, basically slept with him. I mean, of course it wasn't like that. And then she was just putting this under the guise of like, oh, I need to warn other women in the group about this girl. And the thing all like cascaded into a huge shit show where the guy just comes out in the group chat and he starts calling this girl a slut, even though it was him who cheated on his wife. And then people start saying, oh, we should listen to her version of the story. And then somebody starts a voting poll to see like who they support, even though like the girl was immediately kicked out by this girl's husband from the group chat. It's just like a massive shit show.
But did they got her part of the story or not?
No.
Why were they making a poll?
I don't know. It is crazy. It's just insane. And yeah, the comments are like absolutely insane. And one person like jokingly said, me and my wife are going to Sanya. Is there any place you recommend that is free of people that might threaten our marriage? Like ultimately I just think it's like outrageous that this guy cheats on his wife and then goes to the group chat and says like, calls a slut to the girl who he cheated with. I mean, this is totally unacceptable.
But I mean, it's Shanghai dating life. There is more bizarre stuff.
It's so bizarre. It's like, yeah, of course I also don't think it's right that this lady just put it out there like that, but it's pretty crazy. It's wild.
It's kind of revenge.
True. It's funny that in this kind of situation she doesn't go and blame her husband privately, but she goes and blames the girl. Like,
no, I mean, she blames the husband because she says, my husband said he was drunk, but that's not an excuse, blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, yeah, her humiliation was, she was trying to humiliate this other girl much more than she was trying to humiliate her husband, clearly. And again, all under this guise of, what was it? Oh, I'm just helping other married women and girls with boyfriends, so they know to watch out for this girl, which we all know it's a lie. You're just trying to humiliate her. I mean,
Yeah.
exactly.
Not to say like what she did was wrong, but yeah, this like fake kind of I don't know, altruism. It bothers me a lot.
Oh, exactly. It's like it's just how to call that? I forgot the word. But anyway, it's
Yeah.
not like this girl is gonna move out of Shanghai now because her reputation is ruined.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this cycles with. So one important thing is like her husband is an expat, right? The founder of this group is an expat, and like as a lot of people know, like expat guys have kind of an easy life here. Like they're very like let's say requested by Chinese women and of course expat women. And yeah, I mean it's
kind of their playground.
It's their playground, but
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say is like this expat cycles, like social cycles, are very small, so it might actually affect her life. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. I'm just wondering, however, did it make his group more popular and his events more popular?
Maybe this was all a business.
That's PR.
It was a big business strategy. Yeah, maybe that's all it was since the beginning.
Oh my
We're
god.
fools to
Yeah.
believe this.
But speaking of dating in Shanghai, I think most people here right now are actually dating through Tinder. I don't think like many people are actually like meeting in real life and going to dates. I mean, probably they do. I just don't know about
I
them.
mean, that's the point of Tinder. At some point, you should meet the person, right?
Well,
Yeah.
we have real-time Tinders all over Shanghai. I mean, all the bars are like mini Tinders, mini live Tinders.
Yeah, but usually the guys are so fucked up drunk that you're just like, shoo, go away.
Yeah.
Or you are fucked up drunk.
Or you're fucked up drunk.
But yeah, speaking of Tinder stories, who wants to share their experience first?
I used to use Bumble a lot, not Tinder, but I don't have any significant stories. I just like once met a guy. He has like this degree in psychology, and he's like with this like stupid standard catchphrases like, "Oh, I could figure you out since the first minute I saw you." And I was like, I asked if he was like in a subreddit for like picking up girls or like some shit, or if he was an incel or something. And the guy got super offended and left the date.
Really? Like
Yeah.
run off without
No,
saying
he was
bye?
I was fucked up drunk, and I was like just insulting him throughout the whole day because I mean I think it's awful. A guy that goes to a date and tells a girl something like this, like, I have a degree in psychology. He was an English teacher, by the way. But he was like, I have this degree in psychology. I could figure you out from the first second I saw you. And then proceeded to tell me, what was it, how many houses he owns throughout Europe, how much money he makes per month, and what's his gym routine, which I find disgusting, sick, and obscene because, I mean, I am not interested in any of that. I'm interested in people's personalities. And then, of course, like, I was just I wasn't insulting, I was like kind of trolling him. And the guy just booked a DD and left. But he made me pay the bill, which was very unfortunate. I mean, my part.
No, that's still unfortunate.
It was very unfortunate. We're in an expensive place.
Wow.
Oh my god. I had this kind of similar situation when I went on a date with a guy who seemed normal. I mean, on the app we were just talking, but when we were on a date, he just kept going on and on how like he's like rich and successful and everything here, but also how he hates China like so much. That he's like he like hates like how people are here, the culture, the everything, and important part that he only shops in the imported stores and only buys like imported food products.
It's like
because
his contribution to
Because
Western economy.
because he doesn't trust in like Chinese quality and stuff. And I'm like, dude, you're literally like successful and everything because you're making money here. So what the fuck is
But
this?
this is totally like a personality type. It's like the expat that lives in China and hates China simultaneously.
Exactly. And I mean, during pandemic, it's super weird to be here, like, because you're literally stuck in China, hating it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the date when I ran from it.
Yeah.
But like, I just paid for my drink and like I faked a work emergency on the Friday evening. I was like, oh my god, my work is calling. I'm sorry, I gotta run. Like, I just didn't have the guts to tell him like, you're boring and like I don't like this. I'm gonna leave.
No, but once like this legit happened, I was having a bad date, and also it's like a friend of a friend died on a horrible car accident, and just like a perfect like circumstance. I mean, I didn't know the guy very well, but like it was the best friend of one of my friends, so I don't know, but I think until this day, the guy thinks I faked like a friend's death to run away from a date.
Oh my god! And your friend from heaven's like, yeah, go Carmo, it's fine. Yeah, use this opportunity.
He's like, you're welcome. I mean, from what I know from this guy, he would laugh his ass off if this was the case.
Probably, Carmo. If I ever die and you need to use my death as an excuse, like from a bad date, you go for it.
Yeah, okay. Are you guys the same? Work, bad date, whatever. You guys can use my death.
I just want to ask you, how many friends have you killed, Carmo?
I drugged him, so we would drive into a tree and just die.
Right. So
my Tinder, like, I'm not such a fan of Tinder. I used Tinder like maybe 4 times during my full time in China, which happens to be 6 years. And there was like this interesting one that the guy was so cheap that he didn't want to go to a cafe. It was cold in the winter, and he was like, "Oh, let's just walk around." And I was like, "Why?"
in winter.
And I was like, why? And he was like, now it's pandemic. No one knows what's going to happen tomorrow. I want to be really, really careful about my finances. I was like, ugh.
This is the guy already telling you you're not worth the money. Like,
exactly, yeah.
Oh man. And I remember in that group chat that I shall not name, I think it can cause us trouble.
But everyone in Shanghai knows that group chat.
Everybody in Shanghai knows which one I'm talking about. And they were talking about bad date experiences, and like a lot of girls were complaining about guys they were dating, and then they stopped seeing them like 1 or 2 or 3 dates, and then the guys were actually asking for the money of the dates back. It's like, oh, if you don't want to keep dating me, you have to send me back the money from all the meals.
Oh my god! There was no return policy.
There is no return policy for dates. That's true.
It's like a prenup.
Then you need to sign some papers.
It signs some papers like the money from the date's not refundable. I mean, I kind of understand the guy's perspective. Imagine like being a Chinese guy, we know like he'll make less than us probably, like making 8K a month, and then like you barely can pay your rent and your whatever meals and life, and then you have to like still save money to take girls out. I mean, that's insane. I have some sympathy for like sort of the situation where imagine you need to actually save money, and I don't know, but like sort of make the sort of sacrifices in your financial life just so you can take a girl out and you don't know if anything will happen. I mean, it's also hard on their side.
Well, I mean, dating is risky in general. It's not just about money. You can get hurt. Like your feelings can get hurt.
Your feelings.
So it's risky.
Not to speak about your body.
Yeah.
Can get hurt.
Right.
It's also interesting the different types of people you could meet in Shanghai.
True.
I mean, we all know this friend who went on a date and she met this guy who's basically, I think, a tennis player or something.
Oh, wow.
And he was talking about how he is kind of escaping from this kind of secret organization that are like basically from space, and they are pink.
What?
And they live under the ground, and they are like following him everywhere he goes.
I think I know this tennis player.
Oh, what?
Story.
What?
It wasn't a date, but I'm gonna tell you. You finish your story, and then I'm gonna tell you my story.
Yeah,
that's the same person.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. It's not a personal story, but it's a friend who told me about this. She went on this date, and the guy is talking to her about how he's basically escaping from these people, and he's like, oh, let's not like stay here. Let's go somewhere else. They are watching me, and they are pink. And they come from space, and pink is red and white, and it's because it's like a Russian organization,
communist.
Was funny.
Oh, poor girl. No, I think I know this person literally because when you said tennis player and crazy, this wasn't a date I went to. I was working in this organization that was supporting a lot of like charities and funding like a lot of like sports events for children and stuff, just like for the charity. And one time, me and my boss, we had a meeting with this guy that came, and he was like a part of this tennis organization, but it was kind of, he was a tennis player too, of course, and he had like this tennis organization, which is probably not that many in Shanghai, so probably people would know him.
Yeah.
And anyway, so he seemed like a totally sane person. So we sit down with him for like 1 hour to like, for him to actually explain us like about his organization, for us to see like how much money like our company can give him. And he starts his presentation by saying like how much time we have, and we're like, yeah, 1 hour, and then we have another meeting. He's like, oh, okay, that's gonna be enough. And instead of like talking about his, I don't know, brand and whatever, he starts talking about his life, and he says like at 16 that he was working in this company, but like, and he was super successful and he made millions and shit, but then eventually like he got burned out, and he spent like 9 months in his room without like living, not his apartment, but like his room. And in this 9 months, like he discovered himself, he discovered his brain, and he realized that he's a genius. Oh no, he realized,
Wow.
better. He realized he's a god. That's how he said it. He like literally paused and said, I'm a god. And at this moment, I'm sitting there like, he's gonna kill us. But he continues. So he says like, oh, you know, like most of people, they cannot use like, nah, I don't know, they only use like 5% of their brain, but like I discovered a way to use like 100% of my brain. So like now I'm like this super person, and that like I can do everything and shit. And like he just continues going with this crazy shit. So that's why I'm sure it's the same person, because it cannot be that many crazy tennis players in the city. He was telling like more and more bizarre stuff, and like he didn't even start talking about his organization. So eventually 1 hour was up, but like when he was talking all this crazy shit, we were just sitting there and trying to keep our faces straight, because like it was like at work, you know. And then he left finally, and we just started laughing, and like I it was the hardest hour in my life to at some point I was sure that he's crazy and that he's gonna kill us. I'm like, he's gonna get the gun out of his bag and just say, I'm a god, I'm gonna kill you
I
all.
just have one comment about the situation.
Yeah.
I knew God was in China.
Makes sense, yeah, makes total sense.
I knew all along.
Oh my god, I wish I could remember other crazy stuff that he was saying, but I don't think he said that any pink people follow him, but I guess, I mean, they could follow the god, you know.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Maybe if I felt like the God part was too much for a date. Work meeting is fine. I mean, imagine if a guy tells you he's God, you will of course want a relationship with him because he's God, not because of his personality and inner self.
Of course,
so.
yeah. So you have to stay humble and just
You
tell
have
that
to stay humble. This is only for work purposes. You tell people, oh, you're God, of course.
Fuck, that's crazy. Oh my god. And I think I've seen that guy afterwards, like on Tinder or something, and like I wish I could tell the girls that match with him, like, please don't go on a date with this guy.
Warning Tinder, yeah. Well, speaking of...
I had someone tell me once that there are some groups in Shanghai, like WeChat groups, where guys are like actually sharing pictures of girls they date.
Yeah.
So they don't cross date the same girl.
Guys would never do that.
Yeah.
I think it's more like, first of all, I don't think it's girls they date. I think it's girls they fuck.
Yeah.
And
probably.
second, I think it's not they don't cross them or whatever. I think it's like reviews or something like that. That's what I really mentioned.
Reviews.
Yeah, or revenge. You know.
Or revenge. Reviews and revenge. That's the name of the group.
Revenge. Yeah.
Reviews and revenge.
No, it's not like girls didn't have this kind of group. So
Yeah, but girls try not to date the same guy. I mean, I don't want to make like those cheesy feminist points of like, oh, women are so much better than men. Our group is just to prevent whatever girls from dating the same guy. I mean, there's a lot of shit like both ways, of course. Yeah. Anyway, speaking of crazy people, I think we should talk about the Fight Club new ending.
Oh, right.
So what did you... we have to maybe first explain what happened, because probably a lot of people listening to this don't know. So this was on Weibo, right?
It was in a lot of like Western articles as well. It was just like all over the
No, but the new version of Fight Club, I think it was on the Weibo
on the
streaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just going to like explain a little bit.
Right.
So there is let's say, a edited new version of Fight Club on Weibo. Is kind of a Chinese YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's the best way to put it. And the original Fight Club movie. In the original, the ending ends up with Marla and Tyler holding hands and seeing these banks exploding, which is part of a thing called the Project Mayhem. That is let's say, a project to try to reestablish social order. And I think the whole book and movie message is about this. So basically the Chinese, let's call it version, let's not call it like censored version, and I'll make a point about that later. In the Chinese version, the explosions never happen, and instead of having this scene with the explosions, Tyler shooting himself, there is a screen that shows up with the following. I'm going to read. The police rapidly figured out the whole plan and arrested all criminals, successfully preventing the bomb from exploding. After the trial, sorry, my screen went off. Second. After the trial, Tyler was sent to a lunatic asylum receiving psychological treatment. He was discharged from the hospital in 2012. And yeah, of course, like, people online made a lot of fun of this ending.
I just love the idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love them to like reshoot the ending and actually add their video scenes of this like arresting the lookalike of the
incredible
actor.
AI
But actually, they
algorithms.
just cut the scene and they just show the slide with police,
Police, everything fine. Police solved. And I also like this is like a remarkably Chinese sentence. Saying the police rapidly figured out the whole plan and arrested the criminals. No, sorry. There was a part about I think I missed the part here where they say following the clue from Tyler, which is like a very like Chinese way of writing it. You can see it was like a Chinese person who wrote it. But anyway, yeah, people are making like a lot of fun, of course, of this, but the truth is the author came out and said the ending is actually closer to the book's ending, which I've read the book and it's, in my opinion, factually correct. The main character does end in a asylum. However, I don't know, I feel like still in like spirit of the whole thing, it's not a better ending. Oh, but I have to say the author Chuck Palahniuk also says like his book has been basically censored in the States like many times, and that there is actually not a good reason for people online to be like having this outrage and making fun of this version, because I mean the original movie also doesn't end like the book, and this book has been like banned in several occasions and different like circumstances. So what's your girl's comments on
it's interesting. I mean, the book actually has the recipe to like how to make your bomb. I think it literally says like you buy the glycerine and like you add this and that, and then you can make a bomb. I can understand why it's censored in some schools and in some states. There makes total sense. But the movie, I think it's spoiled. I mean, this ending is kind of spoiled because I like the movie. I like the ending of the movie. I think it makes total sense. It's like all anti-consumerism and anti-21st century. So whatever like they made here in China, it's just like literally spoiling the movie. It's like they would better just cut the movie at some point and make no ending at all.
Right, because it is true. Like the ending is really closer to the book, but it's like in a very like logic way, or like it's really what happened. But in terms of like its deeper meaning, which is like so anti-establishment, and so I think even deeper than that is like it has to do a lot with the fight with yourself to change. I mean, this is my like personal interpretation of the movie, but I think it holds some truth. And the message seems like when it comes to like the Chinese version of things, it seems always to be like sort of like police wins, authority wins.
Bad guys go to jail.
Yeah, and it's so mainstream. It lacks creativity. I mean, like.
That's a really good point.
If they changed, if they changed the ending and it was like something more creative and more interesting, I would buy it. But I feel like it lacks so much creativity. It's like just so mainstream. It's so
but like the book, even the book, they could have followed the book because the book has something interesting, which is there is a bomb malfunction because he uses glycerin, and it's like across the book he always says like glycerin never did it for me.
Yeah,
it never worked for me. And then he actually for some reason he does the bomb with glycerin, and of course it doesn't work. That's what he keeps saying throughout the whole book. And this is also an interesting passage where you try to like create like this sort of like social distress, and then you're being like amateurish or I don't know, improvising, and you don't do your best, and then things end up failing. And this is also a point they could have picked up, but like they just prefer to put like the authorities there and like arrest the guy. And
as if life would be that simple that you can just cut it to like good part and that's it. I mean, the justice one, the police one.
The police one. And I don't know, there is like some element, of course, I know there are police characters both in the book and in the movie, but there's something very foreign about it. Not foreign like foreign to the kind of the, the fauna of the movie and the book. It's like, it's just off-putting and weird and like very forced, the police doesn't play a big role in the movie. There is no psychiatric institution beforehand. I mean, it just feels very forced.
It's interesting, but did they do this to the movie only now? Because the movie is like 20 years old or something. So like this movie was available before, like in the normal version, then suddenly they got the version and made their own thing.
I don't know, I think they just put the evolved version and they censored it. Like my understanding is this kind of censorship has happened many times before with other movies, and it's actually like hilariously repetitive. Like it's always like the cops came and the rest of everyone. But when there are like already too many copies, or like the movie is like already very well established online in its original version, they kind of avoid tailoring it to their own version.
Exactly. So maybe it was not available before.
Yeah, I think it might have not, but I'm not. It's like very, very unclear like where this came from. Yeah.
But I mean, usually with the new movies like Bohemian Rhapsody, the one that came out like a year ago or 2 years ago about like
Queen.
About the Queen, they actually cut out the like gay sex scenes out of it to like release it in the cinema, which maybe makes sense a little bit at least. But it's a new movie, and I'm sure like the movie producers were fine with it just to make it like come to China and like make all this money.
It's a lot of people. I mean, they are not gonna lose that money.
But it's funny how they're trying to cut out like the gay topic basically out of the media. And speaking of which, I mean, we can talk about this news of recent bans on like male beauty standards.
Especially coming from Korea, as I understand it, the Korean ones.
Yeah, so basically it was in the news, I think in October, that not the government, or maybe like government literally, where it was like a state-owned media channels that actually publicly criticized the new male beauty perspective, which is referring to Korean pop band boys or whatever that also got popular in China. And basically because in China recently it was also a trend for men to take more care of themselves, and a lot of cosmetic brands are actually pointing their advertising more into male audience, and a lot of younger men are actually taking care of themselves, as in buying some creams and maybe like using some light foundation or I don't know, even eyeliner or something like that. Like
the eyebrow filler,
the eyebrow filler, and actually and this state-owned media was actually kind of showing the concern of the way the real Chinese masculinity is shown. Is represented this way, because they feel like it's very passive way to show their masculinity, and they would like it to look more assertive. And they're trying to make sure that the youth is not following this new beauty standards, which is impossible to control actually, especially on this level. It's impossible to just tell people like don't do this, and people would be like okay.
Don't use cosmetics.
Unless you actually go and ban like cosmetics for male.
No, but then it's weird because like also the posters or like the banners you see on the metro or on the streets, like they're all figuring these like very smooth skin Korean like male guys,
idols. It's sometimes hard to say like if it's a boy or a girl, because I know there's like
it's legit hard to say.
Because there's like the few female singers in China that have like very short hair and they kind of look like boyish a little bit. And yeah, so it's hard to say if it's a girl or it's a guy or like what's happening.
No, but I think there is like this concept of beauty in Asia, as I understand that, or Japan specifically, where like there's like this idea of androgynous beauty, is like you're beautiful like in both genders.
Yeah.
So this is why I think also it's kind of, on purpose, the fact that we cannot sometimes distinguish the gender of the person in these banners.
Yeah, maybe for me, like androgynous more is like David Bowie. Like it's androgynous, but it's kind
You can
of
tell
like,
it's
yeah.
yeah.
But this one is like very like cutesy, I would say.
Cutesy,
like it
yeah.
look more like a very young teenager, even if you're like 25-year-old kind of on the whole.
Yeah, but I find this very surprising, and I mean, I might be wrong about this, but I think, like what's going on in the US now with like people having like 80 genders or whatever, like they say like gender is a spectrum, and then there are people that are like gender fluid, non-binary, and so on and so on. And I think a lot of this can be, I mean, not entirely, but like a portion of this could also be like the boundaries of society, like what society thinks a male is and the female is.
Right.
And people sometimes express themselves in a way that doesn't really fit these standards. And I'm just saying obvious stuff, but I'll have a point. And I think in China and in Asia, there was always a very flexible standard of masculinity. There are guys that are like masculine like in the West, and there are guys that in the West that anyone would think they're like gay, like and they're just normal guys. They just are more stylish or like a different type of stuff. And so I always thought it was this like, let's say, aesthetic freedom that was also preventing people from dividing themselves so much into these like small categories like we see in the US, because we know like for instance the Chinese government is a lot about unity, and like for instance China has all these minorities, but actually it's one country, and they give them like their specific rights and make some concessions, but they are like, to me they seem to be very opposed to this like identity politics of like saying I'm from this minority and I had this advantage in life, blah blah blah. So I think generally like the Chinese government really tries to avoid this kind of discourse, and I would think actually by allowing this kind of like different, let's say, gender expressions or whatever, that's a guy is a little bit more feminine or likes makeup, but still like a man, or like, still under the umbrella of what masculinity is, it would be a way to prevent this kind of issues from raising, or not issues, but like topics from raising, and maintain the unity. But apparently that's not the way they are taking, and I cannot figure out why they're promoting this more like traditional masculinity at this point.
But from what I learned is, okay, we're getting into politics again.
Yeah.
But basically, they are trying to put like their way of how the masculinity should look like against, like, let's say, what is masculinity in states. So they would like China to look more, not aggressive, but more like masculine, as in like active and leading. And the way the masculinity, as they see it now, is like very feminine and very soft. That it's very like passive, fragile, and it's like it's more like following and not like leading.
But isn't this going to have a backlash where all these men that identify more with this like Korean and Asian pop stars or whatever are going to like, I don't know, create their own thing like non-gender conforming or whatever?
Oh, they will anyway. I mean, there's no way to control this really, unless you ban it like on some state level.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know. I always thought it was like a very positive aspect that people here have like this kind of, it's like very flexible, like how you express yourself within your gender in Asia. I think it is, or it has been fairly flexible.
Yeah, I'm also very pro for like men to actually show their more vulnerable side, that they actually want to use like some cosmetics or whatever to be more confident and feel better about themselves, which is like totally fine, and that's how it should be. But on the other hand, I feel like it's more like a marketing strategy, because like they already made women buy all kinds of cosmetics that there is. By making them very self-conscious and insecure, like, you're gonna die without this lipstick, you're looking like a ghost. But now they're literally milked all the money out of women. Now they're like, we need a new market. We need a new market, let's go for men.
Make men insecure.
Yeah.
It's like marketing shaping our societies in such a deep way. But you make a good point. These new measures could also be like a pushback against, making men insecure, because like we buy things because we are insecure. This is actually very simple, and of course these brands need to make men insecure to buy more things, and we cannot have a nation of insecure men, because nations with insecure men and insecure women collapse very fast.
Exactly. So it's funny, but I mean, they started with using men as like brand ambassadors for beauty brands.
Yeah,
it actually started in States as well. They started using like some beauty gurus that are like male, but in China, I think they went much forward in the recent like few years. I could see more and more like ads like that. You just walk on subway and you see like Dior or Chanel or whatever cosmetics, and they all have like male models who are actually advertising the products that are for women, not only for men.
Also, like,
and jewelry.
Yes.
Sorry.
In the those channels where people are like basically promoting things online. I recently like had someone tell me who does this job. He says like actually males are able to sell more on those platforms than women, like in terms of cosmetics, and like,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
I think it's element of novelty, because like there's these two top live streamers, one of which is like Austin Lee, who's like popular, and the other one is female. So he started as a lipstick guy, as he was trying all kinds of lipsticks.
The lipstick guy. They call him the lipstick guy.
But I think they trust him more because he's like a guy or whatever, that he would be more unbiased, I guess, than women are, which is
why would he be more biased? Like, he doesn't use lipsticks. Like
yeah, I don't know.
It's like, oh, when I see women with this lipstick, I think they're so beautiful.
No, I think he's openly gay. I don't even think it's about that. But he's not like a drag queen, so I don't think he uses like that much lipstick in real life or something.
Yeah, that's okay.
Well, it's strange, but he is like, there's two top live streamers, and he's one of them, and they're making billions. They literally make, I don't know how much money for like 1 hour live stream of showing different kinds of lipsticks or other cosmetics.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, this live streaming thing here in China is also pretty crazy to me. Like, people really trust these people that are like...
But, like, also, like, some people buy out of, like, urge to buy the thing.
Yeah.
But actually, some companies are reporting that they have a lot of returns during the live streams. Like, after the live stream, like, they would calculate how much sales they made and how many returns they had, and like actually the return rate is so high.
Yeah, people probably buy it and then like, okay, I'm gonna think about it, because they probably like they sell all of it like in like a half hour, but then like people are like, maybe I don't need this, just refund it.
But it's basically a scam calculated by the live streamers by themselves, because like when I worked in e-commerce company, we would work with these live streamers, not like super top ones, they're like this two that we just talked about, but like the smaller ones. And they would have this kind of things that they would tell you to the brand. They would say like, oh, I can sell your products in like half an hour. I would sell like, I don't know, 200,000 items. And they would actually sell them, but then it would be like 50% returns, because it's like their friends or whoever bought this kind of stuff.
Exactly.
And then returned it immediately.
I mean, sorry to interrupt. But there's something like immediately suspicious about like this like influencer or like whatever Wanhong that goes to the company and says, I would sell this in X time, because usually, as I traditionally know it, the companies go to the people.
Not actually. It's some agencies that control this. There's like literally factories that produce this kind of like live streamers. I mean, it's kind of like institutions. But in general, live streamers, actually people trust them more because they are also afraid to lose their audience. So they would, before like working with the brand, they would ask the brand to send them the products. They would test it, and they can refuse the brand actually, because they say like, if it's shitty product,
I think this was all the point all along.
Then the customers, then their audience would say, oh, this is shit, and they wouldn't trust this live streamer anymore. So there is like some kind of trust there, and that's why people would buy it more. But also there's a big thing that is discounts. It's like during the live stream, there's like, the discounts are much bigger than the brand usually gives, and that's why people buy during live streams.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's like, it's a big question and big industry.
Yeah, but like these industries like are like getting so further away from reality. It seems like they work more and more based on some sort of weird speculation, I don't know, in the way that is like, oh yeah, I can sell 200 of these, but of course like half of them will be returned, so it's not really 200, it's 100. It's like it is weird, I don't know.
But it sounds good for the brand as well. I mean, they don't have to tell like to the press or whatever that they sold out, and they don't have to say that it's actually half of the stuff was returned. They can just say we sold out, we made so much profit.
Yeah, but it's like speculation. It is. It's not real. Like, yeah. No, but I guess there are like several levels of truth you can tell. So, girls, are we done? Let's see how long it was.
40 minutes.
40 minutes, it's not bad.
Yeah. Well, we talked about much more stuff than I thought we would talk about.
Yeah.
Maybe we should go more in depth next time on some topic. Because otherwise we covered a lot of things.
Yeah, no. Okay, well, I don't know. See you next time.
Yes, this was our first attempt.
Very sad attempt. People will judge us. Bye.